Hello everybody, it's Christina and welcome back to my library. Today I am doing a tag video, and this one I actually just randomly found online the other day. I don't really see a lot of people do this one, so I thought it would be fun to give it a shot. And that is the chocolate book tag, and I mean, who doesn't love chocolate? Right? I love chocolate. This tag has a few questions inspired by chocolate and how it compares to books. It's kind of hard to explain. Maybe I should just get into the questions and we will go from there. I don't remember who came up with this tag, but I will be sure to link either their video or the tag itself down below. I can't remember if there was a video or not for it, but either way, I will make sure to link them down below, and I'll also put their name, in the little thing right here while I'm talking. But anyway, let's get into the tag. So the first question is dark chocolate, a book that covers a dark topic. Now, I read a lot of books that cover a dark topic, so I could take my pick from any number of them, but I think the one that I want to talk about is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I actually did not know that this book was as dark as it was, and it is dark. There were times where I was just like, oh God, oh no, oh, while I was reading it, because it was pretty intense with some of the graphical explanations of what was happening during the sacking of a city, and I don't want to get into too much, but holy moly, this book has some dark themes to it, and I really did like it. I will say that I preferred the beginning to the end, which is when it got a lot darker, but this definitely has some dark content in it. So if you at all have issues with rape or a lot of gore or any sort of description of torture, you may not want to read this, because there are some pretty intense scenes in this book. Something that I didn't even know when I first bought it, but I mean, I don't mind that kind of novel. It's just something that I didn't know about when I read it. So yes, The Poppy War gets my dark chocolate pick. There were several others that I could have chosen, but since I just recently read this one and it was fresh in my mind, I figured I would let this one be the one that I chose. The next question is white chocolate, and it is, what is your favorite lighthearted and or humorous read? Well, here's the thing. I don't read a lot of lighthearted books. I actually really like dark books. Okay, so I guess Pride and Prejudice would be considered a good lighthearted book. I didn't even think of that. I no longer have it because it was a library book. So let's put Pride and Prejudice on there. It was definitely lighthearted. It's about women trying to, get married and go to balls. I mean, there are some... I would say it's lighthearted for me, definitely. It's definitely a fluffier book than what I normally read. So we'll say Pride and Prejudice, but also With the Fire on High. This is not super lighthearted. There are definitely some struggles that Amane goes through in this book, but I would say compared to what I normally read, this is definitely a lighthearted book. I really loved this. I know I've talked about it a lot at this point, but I would say of everything that I own, at least, and mostly of what I read, this is probably the most lighthearted that I get, along with Pride and Prejudice. So we're gonna just say the both of those and go on with it, because a lot of the books that I read are not really lighthearted. I have come to figure out. I didn't even notice this until I started this tag. The next chocolate on the list is milk chocolate, and that is a book with a lot of hype that you are excited to read. I have two for this list. One of them is already out, and it has been for a while. The other one, I don't think has released yet. I think it's coming out in October. So we'll start with the one that I already own, and that is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. I have heard so many good things about this book, and I absolutely can't wait to read it. I don't know when I'm going to get to it, though. I'm hoping I can start it before the end of the year, but I'm not sure if I will. But at some point, I absolutely need to read this, because I've heard so many good things about this series. I own all three of them, because I have a feeling it's going to be one of those that I'm just going to absolutely fly through and love. Several booktubers that I watch that have similar preferences to me have adored this book. So I'm really excited for this. This is definitely one of those hyped books, and it has been hyped for me for a while, that I want to read that I haven't gotten to yet. So that is the first one. And the other book that I'm excited to read is The Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. That is coming out, I think, in a few weeks. I know I pre-ordered it, so it'll be coming out when I get it. I can also mention The Toll here by Neil Shusterman. That is another one I'm super hyped to read. So I did also pre-order that one. So I would say any of those 3 books would count for Milk Chocolate for me. They are all ones that I'm super excited to read and I'm super hyped for, and they are being hyped, so they all kind of count for this. The next question, or the next chocolate rather, is Chocolate with a Caramel Center, and that is a book that made you feel all gooey while reading it. Again, I don't read a lot of lighthearted, gooey books, but books that personally make me feel gooey, I mean, I don't know, what would you, gooey, like, kind of makes me think of nostalgia. Things that are like, oh, I love this. Well, I mean, you can't get much gooier for me anyway than Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Every time I read this, it just takes me back, and I absolutely love it, and I could read it all the time, and it definitely has that ooey gooey feeling to it because it has all that nostalgia for me. So maybe this isn't exactly what they had in mind for this particular question, but for me, I would say it's Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, for sure. The next chocolate is wafer-free Kit Kat, and I guess that means it's just a plain chocolate bar, so that would be pretty surprising, which is a book that surprised you lately. I would say the first book, I don't own either of these books, so I'm going to just, talk about them. They were library books. The first one is Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. And the reason I would say this is surprising is because it sounded a little too much like The Stand for my liking, and The Stand was not my favorite. I gave it like a 3-ish out of 5. It was okay. The beginning was better than the end, as Stephen King books often are for me. But Station 11 was phenomenal, and I absolutely loved it. I was really surprised with how much I liked it, just given how similar it sounded to The Stand, and it was just great. The other one that surprised me was The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. The reason this one surprised me is because it's a romance novel, and I'm not really one to normally read romance, but I adored this book. I gave it a straight, solid 5 out of 5 stars. I still think about it now. It's just one of those books that it's going to stay with me for a really long time, and I absolutely adored it and loved it. The next chocolate on the list is Snickers, and it is a book you are absolutely going nuts about. If you've been on my channel for a while, you know what I'm going to say for these. Well, 2. You're gonna know what I'm going to say. I'm going to hold up 2 books from the series, but they're all, together. And those books that I'm going absolutely nuts for, no surprise to anyone, Mistborn and the Stormlight Archives by Brandon. This is so heavy. Hang on. There. By Brandon Sanderson. And I've read both of these series. I adore them. I love every second of them. I'm going to reread them and enjoy the heck out of them again. I will never shut up about these books. I will never shut up about Brandon Sanderson. So yes, I am going absolutely nuts for pretty much anything by Brandon Sanderson, but specifically these 2 series because I absolutely adore the heck out of them. The next chocolate is Hot Chocolate with Marshmallows, and this is a book you turn to for a comfort read. And I'm going to, yet again, hold up Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone because this is just one of those series that I'm never going to stop reading. And I don't read them every year, but I feel like when I'm just kind of either in reading slump or I'm just not feeling good, Harry Potter just makes me feel so much better, and I will always gravitate towards this book, specifically The Sorcerer's Stone, just because it's the first one and it has all those cozy feel-good feels. So I will always turn to Harry Potter when, I need some comfort and make feel-good feels and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that is my answer. I know I've talked about it twice already, but it's Harry Potter, so what can you do? And the last chocolate in this list is Box of Chocolates, and that is, what series have you read that you feel has a wide variety and something for everyone? Now, I could say Harry Potter for this, but I actually don't think it's the one that has the widest variety of all of the series that I own, nor is Mistborn or the Stormlight Archives. The series I want to talk about for this is, I'm going to hold up 2 books from this series because I feel like they accurately represent the variety. The Grishaverse by Leigh Bardugo. This started with this book, which is Shadow and Bone, and that follows the story of several characters, but it kind of moves on, and it starts with like this magic kind of theme, which has a magic school, sort of, kind of, and, an epic battle against good versus evil. But it also has, and actually maybe I should grab this one too, so hang on a second. It also has the Six of Crows duology in it, which is more of like a heist book where you have a group of people that are trying to steal something, and they, it's like a ragtag group of people where they don't always get along. They're not really similar people, but it is all still part of the Grishaverse itself. And then finally, we have King of Scars, which is part of its own duology, and that follows the king. And that is its own story. It talks about, like, what happened to him and what's going on, like, after the events of the Grishaverse series and after the events of the Six of Crows duology. So this is all technically one series. I know some people said that you don't have to read the Grishaverse or Six of Crows, you don't have to read the Grishaverse to be able to read the Six of Crows duology. I 100% disagree. I think they are all part of the same series, and you absolutely need to read the Grishaverse first. So I'm considering this all one series, even though some people don't. But it is a huge variety of different kinds of books, and it absolutely has something for everyone. Now, it is a YA book, so if you're not big on YA, you may not like it, but I think that the variety itself honestly lends itself to pretty much anybody, YA or adult, that is just looking for a really good series with an amazing cast of characters to read. And Leigh Bardugo's writing is just phenomenal. I didn't love every book in the Grishaverse series, but everything in the Six of Crows duology and King of Scars has been absolutely incredible, and I love this series so much. And it is definitely one that pretty much anybody can pick up and enjoy, because it is going to have something for almost everyone in this series. So that completes the chocolate book tag. I am pretty sure I'm going to start doing more tags on my channel, because I actually really do like these questions. They help me think more about my books in ways that I might not normally think about. Like, I didn't even realize that I don't read a lot of lighthearted books until I did for this tag. So I'm going to hopefully start doing more. If you have tags that you want to recommend me to do, leave a comment down below. I will absolutely look into them and see about doing those for the future. So yeah, I will see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you did enjoy this video. You can also follow me on social media, which is down in the description box below. And I will see you next time. Bye!